you people. So I'm on YouTube and I'm also on Twitter. That be small thing. Some people say, Quina, you know, there's something like Restream, and we'll get there. Wolomo. We'll get there. Hello, YouTube people. Okay, I'm waiting for YouTube people to come in. So they'll be coming in. Yeah, so like I was saying before that that wheel came off, our tech careers are in the context of our lives. Yeah, our tech careers are in the context of our whole life. So I consider myself a mentor of life. I'm not just a tech mentor. You understand? Because a lot of times our success in a particular area depends on how things are going in order, because our lives are a combination of everything. Yeah. So I consider myself a life mentor, not just tech. Yeah. So this is Quinary Circle and this is tech, but I consider myself a life mentor. So you are also very free to ask life related questions. Yeah. And like I said, if you're on Twitter, if you don't want people in your business, you can send me a DM. I will ask the question without attaching your name to it. Yeah. So you always have that option. All right. Welcome. Wamaka, how are you, dear? Welcome. Thank you for joining the YouTube live. So I have a question already, so I'm just going to jump right into it. So if you're on YouTube, please drop your questions in the chat and I will answer. If you're on Twitter, drop your questions either in the comment section or you can send me a DM if you don't want anybody to know that you're the one that asked the question. Okay. And please, if you're here as well, please introduce yourself in the chat. Form a habit of whenever you find yourself around professionals, whenever you find yourself in a public forum like this, build the habit of always introducing yourself professionally. Let people know what you do. Let people know what your goals are. Let people know, the type of professionals you're looking to connect with or collaborate with. Make it a habit. It shouldn't be something that somebody have to remind you all the time, unless you are like Izzy, who is a world-renowned designer and technologist. If you are like Izzy that is turning down gigs, maybe you don't have to do that. Okay, but for the rest of us, please form that habit of always introducing yourself in whatever chat forum is associated with the events that you are in. Yeah. All right. So I have a question here. So let's dive right in. This is Mentor Corner. Hello, I am Queen Arit. I'm the founder of the Queen Arit Circle. We are a tech community that our mission is to move early career technologists from learning to earning. That's our mission. Yeah. So in the Queen Arit Circle, we don't focus too much on education. What I mean by that is we are not pushing courses, we are not pushing training programs. We might make suggestions, we might make recommendations, but what we really focus on is, now that you've learned some level of a skill and you are reasonably excellent at that skill, how can you better position yourself to start making money with that skill? Because when it comes to me and money, we are 5 and 6. Okay, if you didn't know before, know it now. Okay, Queen Arit and money is 5 and 6. So in my experience, I realized that the drawback that a lot of early career techies experience is actually getting to where they start making money using their tech skills. Okay, so that is what we are focused on in Queen Arit Circle. So this Mentor Corner is really for those that are ready to start earning with what they have learned. Yeah. But like I said earlier, I'm also a life mentor. So if you have questions about life in general, right? If you have questions about finance, if you have questions about relationships, all kind of relationship. And the reason I do that is because our careers are in the context of our life. Okay, our career is not a separate section. No, it's in the context of life. So sometimes the health of your career depends on the health of other areas of your life, or at least how you are managing and dealing with other areas of your life. Yeah. Hey, Lawrence. Good to see you, my love. It's been a minute. Thank you for coming. Thank you. All right. So let's jump into the questions. Hey, Lawrence. Thank you, ma. I just saw your message. Okay. So ID Yang asked a question. He said, "Good day, ma. What is your take on volunteering for free to get started in your career? It is a double-edged sword." Okay. I'll just cut right to the chase. It is a double-edged sword. And it becomes detrimental if you are not strategic with your volunteer efforts. Okay. So if you start volunteering and you think that by magic, the people that you're volunteering for will just start to make your career for you, oh my show, you will volunteer and leave with nothing. Okay. So let me give you what I consider to be a framework to make volunteering work for your career. Okay. The first thing you want to ask yourself is the activity that you are doing in the volunteering, is it exactly what you want to do in your career? Okay. When you look at the responsibilities that volunteership will give you, at least 80 to 90% should be correlated with your chosen career. At least 80 to 90%. Okay. The only time I will allow that percentage to come low is if the volunteering is more about the connections you want to make in the organization than what you're actually doing. So, for example, if you get a volunteership at Apple, then even if 50% is what you correlate, inbox stay there. Yeah, because you have the opportunity to make some very potent connections within the departments in that organization. Yes, and those connections can move you forward. All right. So everything is balanced. Yeah. If it's a prolific company like that, don't worry too much about whether what you're doing in the now. Please don't say you want to be a software engineer and then you go and take volunteering making coffee. There needs to be some overlap. Okay. Like, even if the volunteer is in Apple, but what you are doing is making coffee, there needs to be some overlap because you want to be able to claim that volunteer opportunity gave you the chance to develop real tech skills. That's what you're after, right? It's not just the impressive name of the company. No, you want to be able to say that within this impressive company, I accomplished A, I accomplished B, I accomplished C. So you want there to be some overlap. However, the more obscure the company is, the higher the percentage of actual career-related skill you want your responsibility to have. I'll say it again. The more obscure the company is. So, for example, if it's a company like Netflix, then I think you can get away with half of your responsibilities related to your career field or 60% related. But if it is one fly-by-night, if it is one fly-by-night opportunity somewhere or fly-by-night company, or just not very recognized, then it makes more sense for what you're doing in that volunteership to really correlate with your career. If you can make it 100%, even better. Okay, so that's the first part. Sorry, a call came in. So that's the first part. Okay, the second part is, to what extent can you reveal and talk about in detail what you did in the volunteership? Okay, this is very important. It doesn't make any sense to do work that you were not paid for in any way, and then it is covered by NDA. You are a fool. Okay? Because what are you getting out of it? Nothing. What are they getting out of it? Everything you did for them. What are you getting out of it? Nothing. So, in my humble opinion, it makes no sense to volunteer for an opportunity that when it now comes time to talk about what you did, what you performed, what you accomplished, what you implemented, you are now bound by NDA or like a complete NDA or a partial NDA or no. Because the key benefits of a volunteership is your freedom and your ability to demonstrate that what you did in that volunteership is an indication of your competence and your ability to now function in a paid role. You have to be able to talk about what you did. Now, I understand that in some companies, they want to protect their intellectual property, their IP. Yes, I get that. So, but it should still be possible for you to talk about what you did. You don't have to talk about the details of the IP. You don't have to, like, so for example, if it was a private, like for engineers now, if it was a private repository, and because it's private, of course, it's not available to the masses. Okay, you are now privy to maybe some some proprietary details or approaches with which they did some things. Okay, you don't want to reveal that, yes, but you should still be able to talk in a general sense about the function of that application. You don't have to go into detail. You don't have to reveal, oh, this was the specific code. No, you don't have to do any of that, but you should be able to talk about it. In my humble opinion, if a volunteer opportunity muzzles you, okay, it muzzles you, and it makes it very difficult for you to talk to any degree or to reveal to any degree what you did in that volunteership, to me is not worth it. Okay, unless it happens to be one of these, again, top Meta, Google, those household names. A lot of these things I'm saying lose a little bit of steam when it comes to the household names because of the recognition, right? Just the ability to have that on your resume or your portfolio is going to attract eyeballs. Yeah. So you really have to balance it. Yeah. But that would be my general advice. Okay. So as long as those things are in place, as long as you're actually going to be working on your skills, the skills related to the career path you've chosen, you are actually going to be working majority of the time on those skills. And then after the volunteership, you have reasonable freedom to talk about and describe not just what you did, but what you accomplished. If those two things are in place, and then I think a third will be connections, right? Of course, you're always networking, you're always connecting with people. When those things are in place, then I think a volunteership could be worth it. Now, even with all those things in place, I really don't like to see volunteerships longer than 6 months because time is money. Time is money. The time that you're spending in that volunteership not making anything, they are using you like beast of burden. Okay, they are using you like beast of burden. You're not making anything. You're not taking home any pay. Okay, the time you're spending in that volunteership is opportunity cost. You can be using that time to do other things to move your career forward. So even with the best scenario, even with Microsoft, Netflix, Apple, even with even there's no NDA, you are able to talk. Even with all those things in place, I really don't like to see volunteer opportunities go longer than 6 months. 6 months is long. I like to cap it at 3 to 4 months. And the reason for that is there are some volunteer opportunities that are not well developed. They really just want you there to be an errand person. I'm telling you, it's just the truth. They are looking for free labor that they can put, different sort of a rudimentary task on. Just do this, do this, do this. You really want to pay attention to the quality of the work that you're doing in the volunteership. Just because it's a volunteership doesn't mean they should give you shit to be doing. Okay? Just because it's a volunteership doesn't mean, don't go there and waste your time, because that is time that you can use to be doing other things that can move your career forward. Yeah. So you also have to judge the quality of what you're doing. Judge it well. I support volunteership where you might agree, okay, let's do 1 month. And then after 1 month, let's do an evaluation. and then decide if I want to continue volunteer. Keep your power. See, don't allow the fact that you haven't worked in tech, you haven't made money in tech, nobody has given you a chance. Don't allow those realities to make you a beggar. Okay. You are still in charge of and in control of your tech career, even if you've never worked, even if you've never been paid, even if you've never, you've never worked a gig. That doesn't give you any less dignity. Okay, so remain in control of your tech career. It's perfectly okay to say, this volunteership, I'm excited, I'm looking forward to it. Can we commit to 1 month? After 1 month, let's evaluate. I would like you to evaluate me as the worker. I would also like to evaluate my experience in the opportunity. So you have an opportunity to walk away if it turns out to be low quality opportunity. So you don't end up wasting 3, 4, 6 months there. Right? Yes. People will treat you the way you allow them to treat you. It's a universal law. Human beings will treat you the way you allow them to treat you. So if they see that you are there, you are willing to work, you are willing to be beast of burden, they will turn you into beast of burden gladly. Okay. Yeah. Somebody in the chat said, hello, Milarita. No be small thing. How are you? Milarita said, is not really that easy to get a volunteer. Yes, it's not. That's why I said, if you manage to land volunteer in this big company, don't worry too much about whether 80% of what you're doing. No, because the fact that you are even there as a volunteer is already an achievement. Yeah. And the reason for that is because it's just not so many opportunities like that. So that's why I balance it like that. Yeah. Does that make sense? Okay. Let me refresh my feed just so I can see questions. Okay. Thank you for that question, Ian. Thank you. Okay. I don't have any question in YouTube. Hey, YouTube, how are you doing? Good to have all of you here. So I am on YouTube and I'm also on Twitter Space. Yeah. So if you see me looking like this, it's because I'm trying to pay everybody attention. Yeah. But good to see everyone. So if you have any questions, I'm not taking speakers necessarily, but if you have, please, this is your time to ask your question. I was saying it earlier that Mentor Corner is not just tech, it's also life. If you have question about life, if you have question about finances, you have question about relationship, you have question about just navigating things, please ask it now. You can also ask questions about me if you want to know something about me, about your mentor in particular. Okay, maybe you want to present a scenario, Quinary, how will you handle this? How will you approach this? This is your opportunity to get poured into. This is your opportunity to get invested into. Okay. Because I don't have to be here. I would have been in my bed watching Netflix. Okay, no, I'm just joking. I'm glad to be here. Okay. But this is your opportunity. This will not come around again until August. Mentor Corner is once a month. Yeah. So please don't be shy. If you're on Twitter, you don't want anybody to know that you're the one that asked the question, you can send me a DM. Okay. My DMs are open. So you can send me a DM. Okay. So let's see who else. I think there was a question I saw here. I don't know where it went. Twitter. There was a question I saw here. Somebody, or maybe they deleted the question. Okay, too bad. All right, Izzy. Yes, Izzy said the best web designer. I know. Did I not hype you? I said that you don't even need to introduce yourself because work, they pursue you up and down. All right. Okay, I'm not seeing any question. So if we go, okay. Oh, okay, Ian, I trust you. This man will go far. There's a way people move. You just know. You come back in 3 years and you see they are heading their own companies. Isn't that not the same guy that used to be in King Robert's? How is it? There's a way people move. You know they will not take no for an answer. It's not magic. This thing is not magic. It's attitude. Okay. Ian says, another question. Okay, how do you handle burnout or periods where you feel stuck? I think those are two different things. Feeling stuck, I think, is different from burnout. Feeling stuck is a sensation that you feel like your career or whatever it is, your business, is not moving forward, right? Your ministry, whatever it is, right? That's feeling stuck. Burnout is different. Burnout has a lot of causes. You can be burnt out because I think one of the so let me treat burnout first, and then I'll go to feeling stuck. One of the leading causes of burnout is misalignment. It's misalignment. Alignment is very important in life. The concept of alignment is very important. And alignment does not necessarily mean that things are awesome. You can be aligned dysfunctionally. Have you ever seen dysfunctional relationships that go on for 20, 30, 40 years? It's because even though it's dysfunctional, there's alignment. So I think a lot of people think of alignment as always a positive thing. No, you can be aligned negatively. Very much so. Okay. But alignment is something that allows you to flow in as much of your natural state as you can. Okay. So burnout can come from constantly functioning in an environment or functioning in responsibilities or functioning in activity that is misaligned with who you are and what you're about authentically. Right? Yes. Sometimes burnout manifests as feeling tired. Okay. But you see, one of the ways that you know that your burnout is not, one of the ways you know it's burnout and it's not tiredness is when you rest, you are not replenished. When you sleep or when you rest, because rest is more than just sleep. Sleep is a kind of rest, like physical rest, but there's different kinds of rest. There's recreational rest, there's creative rest, yes, there's spiritual rest. When you rest, are you replenished? If resting replenishes you, then it's not burnout, it's actual tiredness or weariness, right? Or just needing a break or needing an outlet. That's different. But when rest doesn't replenish you, when you don't feel true relief and release after resting, then chances are it's burnout. Okay. And that's what I've seen both personally and as a coach. When there is misalignment, when there is something you are forcing, and there's a difference between forcing something and pushing through something or pushing something through. Again, it's about the energy of it, right? It's about the energy of it. So, like, for example, I remember when I was losing the weight that I lost, there were some days that I didn't feel like going to the gym. My body was aching, but I never felt like I was forcing myself to work out. I embraced the fact that I was sore, I was tired, but I still went to work out because internally I was in complete alignment with the goal, which was to lose weight. So there's a difference between forcing something artificially and pushing something through that you're aligned with. Alignment does not always mean ease. A lot of people think when you are aligned, it's easy. Lies. You can be aligned with something that is the hardest thing you've ever done in your life. Okay? Yes. So burnout, 9 times out of 10, I find, comes from misalignment. Now, burnout can also come from expectations that are based on false belief. Expectation is very powerful. Whatever expectation you carry influences how you will experience something or someone. It's your expectation. Yeah. It's your expectation. So sometimes, not, I think the number one contribution to burnout is misalignment, but I think a close second is expectation based on false belief. So, for example, there was a gentleman that came to Tama and Susan's space yesterday, and he was expressing frustration at the fact that he had finished a UI UX course, or he felt ready to work in UI UX, but he wasn't seeing gigs. And and he feels like giving up. Just feels like, he just wasted his time. And one of the things I told him was that a lot of your frustration is coming from a false belief that just because you learned UI UX, job will answer you. That's a false belief. Okay? That's a false belief. Is that somehow the acquisition of a skill automatically translates you to working in that skill. That process is not automatic. So what I called a false belief is not the connection between learning a skill and working. What I call a false belief is the assumption that if you learn a skill, within small time, you will be working with that skill, almost like an automatic connection. That is a false belief. And when you have expectation based on false beliefs, the reason why burnout happens is because the reality that you are experiencing is not in line with your false belief. But because you don't realize that your belief is false, you continue having the expectation. You see that? So it becomes a recipe for disaster. It becomes a recipe for burnout. Okay? So when you are trying to figure out where your burnout is coming from, these are the questions that I encourage you to ask. First of all, ask yourself, examine your beliefs. First of all, ask yourself, what are your expectations? What are you expecting? What were you expecting to happen? Okay, very easy question. What were you expecting to happen? Take a piece of paper, write everything down. I don't care how outlandish it sounds, write it down. Don't just answer the question in your head. Write it on paper. Sometimes you have to see what you believe. See it written somewhere. Okay? So write out all your expectations. Then the next question is, for every expectation, what belief is the foundation of that expectation? Let me give an example that is not tech related. In the morning, when I first see my child, I expect them to tell me good morning. That's the first thing I want to hear out of their mouth. That's the expectation. Okay? What is the belief under that expectation? The belief is that a respectful child should greet their parents first thing before they say anything else. Right? And then an associated belief to that belief is that I raised a respectful child. You see it? You see the difference between expectation and belief. Okay? The expectation was, you see me in the morning, you tell me good morning. The belief is that that behavior is what should come from a respectful child. And in this particular case, I have raised a respectful child. What would make that belief false? Okay, what would make it false is, in spite of what I think, I have not raised a respectful child. You see? So the reality is that I have not raised a respectful child. But the belief is not based on the reality. It is based on a my expectation, is not based on reality. It's based on a false belief. It's based on a belief that is opposed to the actual reality. And so if I am wise, instead of continuing to punish and yell and scream and why? Because my child is not telling me good morning in the morning. my child is not fulfilling the expectation, it now becomes, okay, this belief is false. So how does that now impact or adjust my expectation? Well, in that case, I can decide, well, the expectation in and of itself is not bad, but I now realize that I have failed to lay the foundation that the expectation can be based on. So let me suspend my expectation and raise my child well. You see that? Aha. A lot of times when you have false beliefs, they produce expectations that are consistently unmet. But because you don't know those expectations are based on false belief, all you become is frustrated. It begins to look like things are working against you. The whole world is against you. The economy is against you. Your enemies in the village are against you. Your village people, you you just begin to spiral, not realizing that you're operating on false beliefs. So it's important to examine your expectations from time to time. Okay? I'm not saying every single day. But from time to time, examine your expectations. Begin to ask yourself, why do I expect what I expect? In fact, sometimes you don't even realize what your expectations are. The only thing you have access to is your emotion. So what you have access to is the disappointment. What you have access to is the frustration. Okay, so when you access the emotion, ask yourself, why am I frustrated? Well, it's because I thought this would have happened by now. That's the expectation. You see? You see? One of the things that I do as a life coach is I teach people to access what I call their inner state. Okay, that's one of the things I do. That's my other business. Okay, that's my other business. Okay, so as a life coach, I train people how to quickly access their inner state so that they don't spiral. Okay, a lot of spiraling is because we have not learned to access our inner state quickly and accurately. You access it quickly, and what you access is accurate. Okay. So what most human beings have access to is the emotion. I'm upset. I'm disappointed. I'm scared. I'm frustrated. Okay, that's what you have access to. Okay, let's go deeper. Let's go deeper. What is under that? That is the work of accessing your inner state. It's very important. Okay, is the first step to building what I call an inner life. You cannot cultivate an inner life until you learn how to access your inner state. Okay, so that's burnout. Okay, so now let's move to what was it? Feeling stuck. This one too is another. There's a difference between being stuck and feeling stuck. The very big difference. If you've ever, in America, it's not so much a factor because by the grace of God, thank God our roads are good. Okay. So Nigeria, it will be bad road. Okay. Here in the United States, 9 times out of 10, it will be icy road, right? Icy road. That's a road condition that can get people stuck a lot, is when the ice on the road is slick and your tires don't have enough friction. Yeah. Okay. And I've experienced that before where I was pressing the acceleration, but my car wasn't going anywhere, and then my car started to slide on the road. Yeah, it's a horrible feeling. Okay. In Nigeria, it's just bad road. Okay. However, the situation is the same. How many of you have ever been stuck in your car or a vehicle? You've been stuck, literally stuck. Like you are gunning the engine, you're pressing accelerator, you're, turning steering wheel. That is, you're manipulating the car, but the car is not going anywhere. Okay. That is being stuck. You are actually stuck. There's a difference between that and feeling stuck. And I submit to you, 9 times out of 10, when a human being says, I'm stuck, is the latter. Is the latter. Yeah. Now, you can be stuck but not feel stuck. You realize I'm stuck. So what happened to me that day was my wheels were spinning and I immediately realized, oh, the ice is too slick. There's no friction. So I stopped doing what I was doing. I turned on my hazard lights. I came out of the car and I went to my trunk to bring out a sand and cat litter that I keep during the winter months. Because even though I was stuck, I was physically stuck, I understood the reason why. So I didn't feel stuck. I just knew I was stuck. So I now went to the next, that is, I tried, run to see if I can catch a patch of friction that will allow my wheels to turn. After I did that for about a few seconds and my car kept spinning, I said, okay, that was the first solution. It didn't work. But I didn't feel stuck, right? I just went to the next strategy, which is, okay, let me put sand and cat litter and de-icer under my tires and create that friction that will allow me to drive off. At no point in that experience did I feel stuck, even though I was stuck. Okay. So sometimes you are actually stuck, but you don't feel stuck. Usually you start implementing what you know to implement. Okay. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. So you can go from being stuck to feeling stuck when the things that you prior knew what to do, you've done them and they haven't yielded the expected outcome. That's how you can now move to feeling stuck. Sometimes you can feel stuck, but you're not actually stuck. That's where somebody like me come in, life coach. Okay. Hey. Sometimes you are not actually stuck. Nothing is holding you. Nothing. But you feel stuck. And I will say a lot of the times, that sensation or that feeling of being stuck, that feeling stuck, is a symptom of something underlying it. Okay, we're going to inner state again. A lot of times, feeling stuck is a symptom of fear. It's fear. Sometimes feeling stuck can be ignorance. Sometimes it can be ignorance. You just don't know, right? You just don't know. I remember when I bought my car, I was young. This was my first car. I had just gotten my license. And one of the people at the motor vehicle administration building told me that a young lady, because I got my car in the summer. So they told me, they say, young lady, I strongly recommend you attend one of our driving safely in winter classes. Thank God I listened, because it was in that class that I learned the trick about the cat litter and the thing under the tire. If I had not attended that class and then experienced that, slipping and sliding on ice on the road, I would have been stuck and felt stuck, and the reason would have been ignorance. You see that? Yes. But in that situation, I had preemptively neutralized that ignorance. So when I was stuck, I had the knowledge to unstick myself. Okay. Sometimes feeling stuck is a result of ignorance, which is why community is so important. Stop doing life by yourself. Stop building your career by yourself. Stop learning what you are learning by yourself. Stop growing by yourself. Hey, okay, Nare, I don't want anybody to think I'm stupid. You are stupid. Get over it. Hey, I don't want anybody to think I don't know anything. You don't know anything. Get over it. You're not doing anybody but yourself. Nobody's career is being affected because you are afraid that people will think you're stupid. I'll say it again. No other person's career is being affected by your fear that people will think you are stupid. You know, the only career being affected, yours. Okay. So you are sort of protecting your ego and your image in the moment, but you are harming your career in the long run. Make it make sense. One thing I tell my children all the time, I tell my children a lot of things, but one of the things I tell my children is the benefit of home is that you get to fail at home. You get to be stupid at home. You get to appear daft and dumb at home. You get to be ignorant at home. You get to not know how to do it at home, so that when you go out there, the opposite is true. Fail at home, be ignorant at home, don't know how to do it at home, be confused at home, because at home you are already loved. At home, you're already accepted. At home, at least a functional enough home. At home, there is no need for you to prove anything. So home is where you fail. Home is where you mess up, so that you can be corrected, you can be educated, you can be trained, and you can be prepared. So that when you go out into the highway and byway, where nobody gives a shit about you, at least you have practiced to get yourself to some reasonable level of competence before you get out there. That is the role of community, at least healthy communities. So that thing of, oh, I don't want anybody to know how daft I am. You are daft. Make your peace with it. And join community so you can undaft yourself. Okay, so that's the answer to the ignorant part of feeling stuck. Okay, you neutralize ignorance with knowledge. And a beautiful way to do that is collective knowledge, community knowledge, knowledge that comes from just being around other people who have similar aspirations to yours. You benefit and you grow from the collective wisdom of the community. Okay? So if you're interested in joining Queen Ari's Circle, please click the link in my bio, or reach out to Motunrayo. She should be on both platforms. Just drop a comment, drop a comment in the chat, and put there, Motunrayo, please reach out to me. Okay? She's our able community manager. She will connect you. Okay. Finally, let's go now to the other side of feeling stuck, which is fear. Fear is an interesting thing. It's very interesting because as a mechanism, it's very protective. Fear is protective. Religion has made us to look at fear in just negative, 100% negative, nothing good, nothing. Let me help you with a more mature view, okay? Fear is protective. In many cases, it's protective, okay? Fear keeps you from the potential hazard of unfamiliar situations. Okay, fear protects you from the potential hazards of unfamiliar situations, unfamiliar circumstances, unfamiliar actions. When it is unfamiliar, when it is something that you're not accustomed to, that fear is actually protective. However, the same way fear is protective, it's also stagnating. Fear can keep you from greater, from better, from more. Fear can keep you from commencing and traveling through a process that will evolve you to your next level. And so a lot of times, That sensation of feeling stuck, that's how you are interpreting it. Oh, I feel stuck. I feel like nothing is working for me. And that could be true, like in reality, nothing is actually working. But it could be that it's because you are actually meant for something different, a different manifestation, a different approach, a different focus, a different emphasis. It doesn't mean, oh, you change career path completely. No, don't hear me. It might mean something different. And somewhere in your spirit, you're afraid. It's a lot more, it's a lot more, it's kinder to your ego to say you are stuck than to say you are afraid. The ego does not like that word. The ego, it feels very weak. It feels very weak. It feels like, oh, I just say, okay. So it's kinder to the ego to say I'm stuck or I feel stuck. When in actuality, it's fear. It's feelings of inadequacy. It's feelings of, am I good enough? Am I worthy? That's a very deep one. I work on that a lot with my coaching clients, my life coaching clients, is the sense of worthiness. It's very deep. Yeah. And so when you have that happening under the surface, above, you just say, oh, I'm stuck. Oh, it's not working. It's not, yeah. Okay. So those two things are not the same. But sometimes the solution to both can be very similar. Okay. So I hope that helps somebody. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. Okay. I have some questions in YouTube, so I'm going to answer them. Thank you for coming. Jibari says, please emphasize more on this inner state. Jibari, DM me for a session. Okay. I hope this is very helpful. I hope people are being helped. Thank you for coming. If you just joined, thank you for coming. This is Mentor Corner with Queen Harriet Circle. Queen Harriet Circle is my tech community. Our motto and our mission is from learning to earning. I'm Queen Harriet. I'm the founder of the Queen Harriet Circle. And Mentor Corner is our monthly session where you get to spend time with me, your mentor in tech and your mentor in life. Yeah. So that's what we are doing here. Okay. Okay. So Sholanke, okay. I have a question I've been wanting to ask for a long time, but I always kept it to myself because I felt it was something I needed to figure out on my own. That's your ego talking. That's your ego talking. Okay. But lately I've realized I don't actually have an answer. And I think it's time I ask someone who's been through life more than I have. Very wise. Okay. So kudos to you for having the courage to say, this is beyond me right now. And see, that something is beyond you does not mean it will always be beyond you. Okay. Sometimes I think one of the things that makes us so afraid of being vulnerable is that we somehow believe that if I don't know something now, I may not know it forever. It's not true. It's not true. Ignorance is very momentary. That's the beautiful thing about ignorance. It's very momentary. The minute knowledge comes, the minute wisdom comes, ignorance disappears. But again, the ego, we just convince ourselves that, just the vulnerability of letting it be known that I don't know. You are doing yourself. Okay. Queen Harriet is fine. Your ignorance is not affecting me unless I hire you for job. Okay. It's not affecting me. You are doing yourself. You are doing yourself. Okay. Always remember that. Who am I doing? Okay. This thing I'm doing or I'm not doing, this thing I'm not trying to, who am I really doing? Like, whose life is really being impacted? Yeah. Okay. You're welcome. Living News. How are you? Good to see you. Okay. Sholanke, I'm reading your questions. Thank you for asking your questions. Yeah. And congratulations for having the courage to ask them. Okay. My question is, have you ever gone through a period where, sorry, I'm reading because some people are on Twitter and some people are on YouTube. So I want everybody to, yeah. My question is, have you ever gone through a period where it felt like your own family didn't believe in you or what you were trying to build? For example, having a parent who constantly reminds you that you are not where they expected you to be, questions what you're doing with your life, or makes you feel like you're failing because they don't really understand your journey. Yes. How did you cope with it without letting it affect your confidence or stop you from moving forward? Okay. I am uniquely positioned to answer this question because not only have I experienced that, but I'm also a mother. Okay, I'm a mother. And I have a teenage son. Okay. And so my son is 14, my daughter is 9. Okay. So my son definitely, but my daughter too, are getting to the ages where that independence, is beginning to, okay. So I'm able to answer this question from two perspectives. Okay. So I'm going to answer it from your parents' perspective first. Okay. Your parents are not doing anything wrong. Your parents' questions, your parents' reminders, your parents' focus on what they feel is not working in your life, none of those things are wrong. The real curse is not to have anybody who cares. And the reason why you don't consider that the worst option is because you've never experienced it. Yeah. The real curse in this life is to not have anybody who cares. Now, that is not to invalidate how their questioning makes you feel. I'm not invalidating your feeling, okay? But critically, looking at it critically, you are blessed to have people who actually give a damn how your life is going or how they think your life is going. Part of being an adult, hear me, because many of you in this room, you're in your 20s, you are young, and the things I'm teaching you, if you can grasp it now, if you can understand this in your 20s, your life will go very well. You will avoid so many mistakes if you can get this. Part of being an adult is learning how to give other adults the right to think what they want. To stop making it such a problem. Why don't you believe in me? Why don't you? Think about a time you didn't believe in somebody. Did you kill yourself? Okay. Think about the last time that you heard of something that sounded ridiculous to you. You see, the reason why we fixate so much on this particular is because it's our parents. Your parents are human. You are living life for the first time. They are living life for the first time. Ain't none of us living life unless you believe in reincarnation. But even then, you were a bird your last life. You were a snake the life before. So, so I think there's even space in the belief of reincarnation for what I'm saying. Everybody is doing life for the first time. So a huge part of maturity as an adult. Yes, my love.
I found you on TV at a short.
Oh, okay. That is my other account.
Yeah.
Okay.
Local thing.
Okay, that's nice.
Bye.
Okay, bye, my love. A key part of maturity as an adult is not losing your shit because another adult has decided and concluded something that you feel is not really in line. Now, this thing that I'm saying does not come with age. I know adults in their 60s and 70s that never learned what I'm teaching now. So please don't ever think that just because somebody is getting older, this ability will come. No, it's not automatic. I know I know adults in their 70s and they struggle with this. They struggle with this idea of letting other adults, okay? So my guy, that's where this starts from. I'm not, because this is the mother in me. I'm not going to come and, yes, I validate your emotion and I validate your experience of what looks like their lack of support. I validate the experience of it, but I'm not going to come and kumbaya you. It's time to be an adult. It's time to learn how to maintain even emotion and inner state in the presence of an adult who disagrees with what you're doing or who you are. It is a key adult competency. Very important. It will help you in your relationships. If you decide to become a parent, it will help you in parenting. It will help you in your friendships. It will help you in the workplace, in your profession. So there is fundamentally, hear me, there's nothing wrong with what your parents are doing. Now, the approach might be annoying, yes, that can, but I'm talking about fundamentally, critically, there's nothing wrong with what they are doing. They give a shit and they are making it known. The curse is not having it at all. Hear me. If you hear nothing else, hear that. That is the real problem. That is when you need prayer. Is when you don't have anybody like that in your life. Okay? All right. So that's one angle. Okay? Okay. The reason I say that is because it matters to me that your connection with your parents is not poisoned because of your inability to accept that what they're doing is not bad. That is how, for those of us that are of the Christian persuasion, that is how the enemy poisons relationships. I'm telling you. That is how it becomes something so much darker and so much more bitter than what really it was meant to be. Okay, I don't want these roots of bitterness and resentment to just take roots, in your soul. And, right now you are young, so in many ways you are still beholden to them. But by the time you enter your 30s, your 40s and beyond, now there's no relationship to speak of. It's a tragedy. Okay, it's a tragedy. So that's the mother in me. Okay, that's the mother in me. Now, let's now go to how you are experiencing this. Okay, because that also matters. Yeah, let's go. So you asked me, have I ever been through that? Yes and no. Okay, I've been through it in the sense that there was a season in my life where it looked like the education that my parents spent so much money to fetch me, I wasn't doing anything with it. Literally, like I wasn't doing anything with it. My bachelor's is in biology and chemistry. So I have a Bachelor of Science, and then I went ahead to get a master's. And after I got actually 2 masters, it's just one of them I don't really count because anyway, another story. But I have these multiple degrees. And after I got these multiple degrees, there was like a 10-year period of my life that I didn't work. So in my case, I wouldn't say my parents were on my neck so much, but being the intuitive human being that I am, most definitely, I'm sure they had very serious concerns. Okay. Because at no time in my life was I raised to believe. At no point did my parents raise me to believe that I would not work. That was just a no-no in my household. Yeah. So the fact that I was just sitting at home, trust me, it didn't sit well with them. It didn't. And that was also a time in my life where I was operating with several false beliefs. So the reason I say that is because I didn't even feel some kind of way about what they were feeling some kind of way about. Because in my mind, at that time, I was serving the Lord, Yeah. So that's why I say yes and no, because I don't want to use my experience and equate it, because from what you've shared, it's causing you a lot of angst. Yeah. So I don't want to artificially, measure my own experience up to yours. I want you to know that I also went through a season where I wasn't, quote unquote, fulfilling my parents' expectation for my life at that time, but it wasn't necessarily something that they were constantly on my neck about. Yes. So that's why I said yes and no. Okay. So, they constantly remind you that you are not where they expected you to be. That's painful. Okay. That's painful. It doesn't feel like it right now, but you've actually been presented with a gift. And I'll explain what I mean. Okay. One of the most painful things that an adult will go through is disappointing people that you love, and disappointing people, and particularly it's family. Yeah. But it's disappointing people that you came up or you grew up to value their assessment of you. Okay. So you can love somebody, but not feel subject to their assessment of you. And that's why I said it tends to be family, because it's family members that we kind of grow up in this environment of, caring about how they see us, what they think of us, right? We may not feel that we're really with our friends, although we love our friends, yes. So one of the most painful experiences that an adult will go through is having that season where you disappoint people that you've grown accustomed to wanting and needing their approval. 9 times out of 10 is parents and or those who raised you. So it could be parents, it could be grandparents, it could be aunt, uncle, a guardian, a coach, somebody that their approval of you has always, think about when you were young, right? And you drew something nice, and even though the colors were everywhere, your parents said, "Oh my, you are just Picasso. You are just the Picasso of your generation." You grow up hearing things like that. It creates a very deep-seated need for that continual approval. So now you're an adult, but the child in you still wants that approval. It's very painful, okay? But it is also a gift. It is also a gift. And it is a gift because when somebody is disappointed, as painful as their disappointment in you is, or the way they express it, as painful as the disappointing them is, as painful as it is to hear and experience their disapproval, what it has also done is it has set you free. That's the gift. Okay. Yes, my love. What is it?
Can I have chat on Roblox?
I can't do it now. It'd have to be later. But probably not. Chat on Roblox? Yeah. No. You're too young. Okay. It sets you free. And the reason it sets you free is because when you disappoint somebody on a very deep level, their assessment of you, now hopefully it's not your whole life, hopefully their disappointment is just this one area, but sometimes it's your whole, sometimes human beings will use one thing you disappointed them to just write you off. And it's painful. The way I'm saying it is not to suggest it's not painful. It's very painful, but it's also a gift. Because when somebody is disappointed in you, in a way, they release you. There's a level at which they may not even realize they are doing it, but they release you in the sense that now that you have disappointed their expectation, they are no longer looking at you with this 100% certainty that, oh, this person is going to be this way. They're going to do this. They're going to accomplish this. They are going to bring this. They are going to, give me the whatever, right? Something in that is fractured. That expectation is fractured. And in the fracturing of it, you are released. Okay, you are released. One of the, and I'm going to close. I'm not going to go very long. I'm just trying to help this brother, okay? One of the transitions that we need to make, and it's not automatic. It's not automatic. That you grow older chronologically does not mean this happens. Again, this is something that I do as a life coach. I walk people through this process. One of the things that you need to transition from as you grow from childhood to adulthood, as a child, your assessment of yourself is 100% dependent on your parents or your family's assessment of you. And whatever joy that you have for what you've done or not done is 100% dependent on their assessment and approval of you. That is childhood, and it is in place. It's appropriate. Because a child is still juvenile, because a child is still developing, because a child lacks any sort of context, right? Yes, they are still developing so much, yeah? So that is appropriate, okay? In adulthood, now again, this is not automatic, but it needs to happen, okay? In adulthood, the locus or the source of your self-approval and your self-joy needs to move from your parents to you. And so as a child, your sense of worth, your sense of belonging, your sense of value comes from the approval your parents give you based on what you do or didn't do, right? As an adult, that worth and that value comes from what you have decided you want to do for yourself to approve yourself and be happy with yourself. The way your parents or your family come into it is they are sharing. See the difference? They are sharing in your self-celebration. They are sharing in your feelings of accomplishment. They are invited to celebrate with you. They are invited to enjoy the accomplishments, the product, the outcome, the experience, whatever it is that you've produced and designed and, for yourself. So childhood, that comes from them. Adulthood, it comes from you and they participate. Childhood, it comes from them, you participate. Adulthood, it comes from you, they participate. Okay, that transition, many people don't make it. And so chronologically, you've grown up, but internally, you are still operating like a child. And then the question becomes, okay, well, even if I don't know that, aren't my parents supposed to know that? Your parents were once children. And it is very possible that your parents themselves never made that transition either. So what they are visiting upon you was visited upon them. Okay, talk about generational patterns. Sometimes our parents have very deep-seated resentment for the life they thought they would have that they don't have. And their only way, or one of their favorite ways of processing that resentment and bitterness, is to visit that same expectation that they failed in their way, in their time, in their era. They visit it on their children. So what you are experiencing is they don't like what I'm doing, they don't support what I'm doing, they don't see any value in what I've chosen for myself. That's how you are experiencing it. But what your parents are probably doing is, I don't want them to be bitter like I am. I don't want them to look at themselves in the mirror one day and regret how their life didn't go. Many parents don't have the level of self-awareness to say to you what I just said. Many of them, they've never ever gone that deep into their inner self to even access that reality. They can't. But I'm speaking to you as a mother. 9 times out of 10, what we experience from our parents as rejection and disapproval and disappointment, we experience it like that. What we don't understand is they don't want you to feel later in life how they feel about themselves now. Okay, what about a dad or a mom who is very accomplished? Maybe they have businesses, they have real estate, they have all these accomplishments. And that's what they keep, going on my head about. Okay, it's the same thing. In their case, they have the external accomplishments, but maybe they never had that unconditional love. And they are so bitter from it. So again, they want you to also accomplish and have things, right? Because they are like, if you don't have these accomplishments and you don't have these things, nobody will love you. That's what I experienced. Until I had all these things, nobody gave me the time of day. Until I accomplished all these things, nobody saw me as anything worthy. So they have a deep-seated belief that if you don't accomplish, nobody will fuck with you. So they don't want that for you. Unless your parents are truly demonic and diabolical. And I say that I say that for real, because there are truly demonic and diabolical people on this earth. Okay. My intuition is telling me, Sholanke, that's not your situation. Okay. You don't have demonic and diabolical parents. You don't. Okay. So what is the solution? I think for you is twofold. Number one, you need to grow up. Your parents wanting these things for you is not wrong. Your parents wanting to feel that you are doing something with your life is not wrong. I promise you, if you ever become a parent, you will feel the same. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I forgave my parents when I became a mother. I didn't say they apologized. No. I didn't say they confessed. No. I forgave them from the depth of my soul. I forgave my parents when I became a mother. All those things that I held and I just felt, oh, I don't know why they couldn't. I don't know how they couldn't. Okay. So you need to grow up. You're an adult now. Okay. And I know nobody ever taught you, somebody is teaching you now. Nobody ever showed me, somebody is showing you now. Okay. You need to grow up. And then secondly, you need to begin to see the gift of freedom that disappointing them has given you, so that you stop focusing so much on how they are talking, how they are on your neck, that's where the bitterness will come from. If you keep meditating and focusing on that, instead focus on the gift. Now you perform. Okay, fine. You're not doing according to what they thought. Do now. Do. Not for them, for you. For you. Yes, we've dealt with the fact, okay, let's put mommy and daddy to the side. You, uncle, according to your standard, according to your goal, where are you? Do you keep moving the goalposts? Do you keep raising and lowering the bar based on to what level of consistency and discipline are you applying for yourself? No longer for them. No longer for them, but for yourself. Because by the grace of God, at a ripe old age, you will lay them in the ground. Right? That's what we all pray. By the grace of God, at a ripe old age, you will lay them in the ground. And then guess what? It's just you. It's you and your life. Sometimes we use the disapproval and the disappointment of others as a scapegoat. As long as we keep focusing on how they are disappointed and how they stay on our neck, and as long as we keep focusing on that, that becomes an excuse for what we are not focusing on, which is this life that you're fighting so much to be Alpha and Omega over. Okay, let's see now. Yeah? So, I don't know if that helped. but it's time to grow up. Okay, you grow up. You're not a child. You are their child, but you're not a child. Okay, you're not a child. So you need to make that transition. And I promise you, when you make that transition and you start operating on that wavelength, it may not change anything coming from them, but it will utterly and very significantly change how you process it. And that's what will make the difference. Nothing that I've said in any way guarantees that mommy and daddy will change. But what will change is you. What will change is you. And it will, I hope, protect you from developing an irrational bitterness and resentment. That's always the danger. That's always the danger. And when you then succeed, and when you then get to your success, not their success, but when you now get to your success, I'm telling you, all you will want in that time is to have your family celebrate with you. I don't care what they say. That's what you want. Because now you did it for you, you're happy with you, you're satisfied with you, you have this self-actualization. You will want them to celebrate and enjoy that with you. But now you have allowed bitterness and resentment. It now robs you of that future gift. Hey, but they're my parents. Why can't you do it? Hey, but they're my parents. They're supposed to lead the way. Okay, they fail to lead the way. I am leading the way. Take it. Is it about the way to be led, or is it about who is doing the leading? Fine. Mommy and daddy failed. I'm showing you the way. Will you follow it? Or will you stay stuck on the fact that it's not mommy and daddy showing you the way? I'm speaking as a mother. I'm speaking as a mother who knows I am in no way qualified to be a mother. I am not. Every day, every year my children age, I am reminded of the fact that I'm not qualified to be a mother. And yet here I am. Yeah? So take what you need. Stop being so fixated on who is serving it. As long as it's what you need, take it and evolve. Don't cut your nose to spite your face. Don't do that. Don't be so fixated on who it didn't come from and where it didn't come from. If you're getting it, take it and evolve. That's what you owe yourself as an adult, is to evolve. Take it and evolve. Okay? That help? Yes, it's not easy. Adulting is hard. But what are you going to do? It's very hard. And a lot of the pain that comes from adulting is a lack of examples in the adults that went before us. That is very real. It's very real. And if you're not careful, that literally becomes a black hole that continues absorbing all your potential to evolve, because you're so fixated on what the adults before you didn't do. Or, and that's not to negate, I'm not invalidating the experience, but is this one life you have? Is this one, this is your life? And the sun rises and sets, and every day you are a day closer to the grave. Every single day, you are a day closer to the inevitability of death. Yeah? So let's free ourselves and evolve. Okay? Let's free ourselves and evolve. Yeah? Let that be our focus. Okay. All right. Yeah. Oh, questions in the DM. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Questions in the DM. Thank you very much. You are right. Let me check. Okay. You left a question on WhatsApp. Okay. All right. Okay. Let me see. Let's see. Oh, okay. Just 40 more minutes. Okay. 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 You say you're a graphic designer. 2 startup brands reached out to you last week asking you to join their teams and assist. There's no payment. There's never payment. Startup and no payment is 5 and 6. There's never any payment. Okay. They mentioned putting you on a salary. You cannot pay your bills with promises. You cannot pay your bills with promises of salary later. Okay. They mentioned putting me on a monthly salary later as the brand grow. They are not even offering data support. What do you advise in this situation? It depends on your situation. Are you do you have, when you consider the time that you will spend working for them, and let me help you. I don't even need to know who these brands are. Let me promise you, they will work you to the bone. You hear me? They will work you as if they are paying your salary, your house rent, your car, and that's how they will work you. Okay. So in case you think you go in there and be having a field day. No, you won't. Okay. So with that in mind, ask yourself, when you consider the time that you will spend working like a donkey for these people, when you go to sleep at night, will you feel 100% happy about it? When you burn your data, because they will give you tasks as if they bought you Starlink. That's how they will give you tasks, as if they pay Starlink for you. Okay, so when you burn your data with your own money, working like a dog, okay, that's the question you need. Just be very honest with yourself. Okay, be very, very honest with yourself. Okay, and then you've already told me they are startups, so they are, as far as I'm concerned, on paper, they're not going anywhere to happen. Until somebody goes somewhere to happen, I assume they are not going anywhere to happen. When it comes to startups, that is my baseline assumption. Until they happen, they are not going anywhere to happen. So before you tell yourself, well, I will have a work product and I will have, something to show that I did, they may not be anywhere. They might ask you to sign 101 NDAs. So I'm just evaluate very well. That's all I'm saying. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying you cannot pay any of your bills with promises of future salary. Okay. Sholanke said, thank you so much. Yes, you're very welcome, dear. It's okay, you'll be fine. Yeah. It's a rite of passage. You're not the only one. It's many of us out here that are doing this, following our dream, our passion, without any support. Or it feels like we don't have any support. It's so, like, you're not the only one. I don't want you to think that, oh, it's only I, oh, woe is me. No, don't do that. You're not the only one. There are many, many, many like you. Yeah. So just release them and grow up. Release them and grow up. It's time for you to make your life happen. Whether you fixate on their lack of support or not, you still have to make your life happen. So I think it's better to focus your energy on that and take your energy away from feeling so bad about it. Their parents, what are you going to do? Okay. Somebody said you resign. Okay. Somebody said, I resigned from my full-time role. The official reason is due to AI data sovereignty reasons in the US. The unofficial reason is my boss was toxic and refused to pay me. Oh, good. I don't understand though. See, one thing with me, at least you can ask any of my staff members. My staff members are here, those that I like, if I cannot pay you, I will say I cannot pay you. And I release you. Like, ask my staff, they will tell you. If I cannot pay you, if you're working for me and I cannot pay you what we have agreed that I will pay you, if I cannot pay it, I release you. I don't have any further expectation. Whatever you are now doing, you are doing of your own free will. And even as you're doing it, I will now not be sending you crazy. Like, I don't understand how human beings are such thieves. I think that's the thing that just makes me so cold. Like, human beings are thieves. I was watching this video on TikTok, a convenience store owner, right? And he had a hidden camera. And he videoed through the course of a day. He videoed many customers coming into his convenience store. This is in the States here. Coming into his convenience store. Like, one of them grabbed a drink. The drink is $2. He threw 75 cents on the counter and was like, that's all I got, homie. And I don't want people to hear me say that and think I'm one super Christian. I am not. Trust me, this is not religion. To me, it's like, you want to play with the universe like that? Chai. Oh, God. As vast as this universe is, the fact that we are infinitesimal specks on this planet called Earth, and you want to play like that? That's what you went and took a drink. I think that drink, $2 drink, too big, but $2 drink. He threw 75 cents. He threw it and told the cashier, the owner of the store, that's all I got, homie, and walked out with that drink. So I don't understand human beings that play when it comes to this money thing. I don't know. I don't. Anyway, I've been sending personalized applications to several agencies, personalized as in curated portfolios, resumes, and even recorded a video for each portfolio code email. Do you have any tips you can share for job hunting I can leverage in addition? So let me answer. There's other question, but let me answer that one first. See, I don't like, you see, in this climate, maybe this would have worked 8 years ago. But nowadays, I like to take time to establish some kind of rapport before I sink energy into doing something customized like this. I personally don't recommend doing it cold. I don't recommend doing it cold because it takes energy. It takes a lot. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of time only for the person to click and trash. So I almost feel like if I'm going to spend energy, if I'm going to use my power, if I'm going to use energy, I'm going to use it just working on, cold messaging has level. A cold DM is a lot easier to do than a cold portfolio presentation, video presentation. You know what so to me, I much rather use that energy. You can, it's okay to use the cold outreach method, but I much rather use very minimal cold outreach method to figure out, okay, who responds, who answers me, who expresses interest, who is willing to proceed further or hear more from me, so that you have now a warmer list to now do things like that for. That's what I recommend, because it's a lot of energy. It's a lot of energy. It's a lot of energy, and again, you want to protect yourself from spending all that energy, not having any result from it, that is result that you want from it, and then you become depressed. Now you have an additional thing on your plate that you're fighting. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's good, but I feel like that approach, curated portfolio, recorded video, is for warm lead, warm potential, not cold. It's too much energy for cold. Yeah. Don't know if you've seen the black tax trend on the internet. Yes, I have. How do you distinguish genuine help and assistance from being dragged down? 9 times out of 10, you can't. because human beings are diabolical. Okay. Just as a race, as a species, we are diabolical. Yeah. So you really can't. One thing that I'm learning, I do a lot of philanthropy. Some of you know what I do in terms of philanthropy and generosity. I do a lot of that. But one thing I'm learning to do is to occasionally tell people no. You see, because let me tell you something about human beings. The highest gratitude anybody will ever feel for you, I didn't say express. Expression and feeling are two different things. Okay. I can express gratitude in a way that small time you go think that they worship you. Yes. It doesn't mean that's how I feel inside. Okay. So I'm choosing my words carefully. The highest amount of gratitude anybody will feel for you is the first time you help them. It's a human thing. It's the very first time you help them. Or the first time you help them at a particular level. Yeah? Okay. After that first time, it's like drugs. It's like drugs. Your highest high when you take drugs is always the first one. Ask any recovering drug addict. Ask anybody that's successful, successfully. So and I know several. So I've spoken to them. I've never done drugs by God's grace in my life. Okay. But I've spoken to hardcore drug users who went into recovery. Okay. They'll tell you the best experience you will ever have on drugs is the first one. It's the very first one. Everyone after that, in fact, a lot of what drives addiction is trying to chase that. They call it chasing the dragon, trying to chase that first high. Okay. It's the same thing with human beings and gratitude. Okay. The highest gratitude any human being will ever feel for you is the first time you help them. Okay. Once you continue helping them, very gradually, it becomes expectation and entitlement. Okay. Just a universal thing. It's true for you. It's true for me. It's true for everybody. Okay. So one thing that I've started doing, I didn't used to do this before, but one thing I've started doing, again, to protect myself, is even when I'm working with somebody and I'm assisting them, I'm supporting them, I'm helping them to move forward, whatever, every now and again, I tell them no. But Mama, but you helped me before. Yes, I know. I'm not helping you this time. Mama, I don't want you to think that I don't care. Is it that you feel I'm not grateful? No, I know you are very grateful. I'm not helping you. One of the hazards that come from helping people is they can very quickly make you their only source. Mhm. You begin to ask yourself, that, okay, before I came into the picture, how were you surviving? How? Hey, sometimes when somebody does not have they will diversify their requests. You understand? They will diversify it. Monday is this person, Tuesday is that person. Hey, then you with your altruistic ass, you with your altruistic, with your give and it shall be given to you ass. Okay, no problem. No problem. Hey, have your belief. I love it for you. Okay. But here you come to now be a consistent source. Oh, they will make you consistent. Human beings. Human beings. They will make you very consistent. Any option they had before, I beg. I don't even need to talk to them again. That one that used to make me beg and kneel down before they give me anything. Thank God for this guy. Oh, thank God for thank God for this guy. So you said, how do you distinguish genuine help and assistance from being dragged down? Well, I think that you can't always distinguish it, but there are some things I look for. Okay. I look for a personal drive. Okay. So does this person have an attitude of, oh, I will always be there for them? Or even though I've helped them, I've assisted them, do I detect in them a drive to make it on their own, make it by themselves? Yeah. I tend to gravitate towards the latter. If I detect a consistent drive in somebody to make it, to hustle, to strive, to struggle, like I feel better about helping that person because I feel like the help that I'm sending is contributing to their foundation to now be able to do for themselves. I never go by gratitude. I don't give a damn. Like, you can thank me from now to high heaven. That's not what I go by. I don't. I used to. I don't go by that anymore because I've understood that human beings, they will win a freaking Oscar convincing you to continue doing what you're doing. When it comes to this gratitude thing, they will win an Oscar. I'm talking about best actress, best actor. They will win it. Yeah. So I no longer go by gratitude. I no longer go by, oh, look at how grateful they are. I don't give a damn. Okay. I'm much more likely to aid and support people that I see evidence of their hustle. I see evidence of, really and truly wanting to get to that place of self-sufficiency. Yeah. So that's what I look for. If I don't see that, it depends, like sometimes it depends. Like for the most part, I try not to be callous, but that I'm not callous doesn't mean I'm a bleeding heart either. So it really depends. Yeah, it depends. If I look for deterioration, if this was somebody that, before maybe what I was assisting with was data. I'm just giving an example. What I was assisting with was data. And then now all of a sudden, it has become, it's more than data. It's now data and feeding. Okay, now it's not. So I also look for a deterioration, like, okay, it used to be this level. Now it's like this level plus. Okay, now it's this level plus. Yeah. Human beings are diabolical. Human beings will gradually put more and more of the responsibility for themselves on you, but they'll do it gradually. And sometimes, whereas there was a diversification of their, request making, they've now cut off those other avenues. They are now trying to make you the only one. Yeah. I've experienced it firsthand. I've experienced it. Yeah. So, and this goes for everybody. This goes for family. This goes for, people you grew up with in school. It goes for everybody. It goes for everybody. I've said it before. I'll say it again. The best thing you can do for poor people is not be one of them. And that also applies if you used to be poor. Sometimes people hear that statement and they feel, but I also used to. Okay, guess what? You are no longer. Stay there. Like, don't waste your guilt. If you're looking for what to feel guilty, find other things. Find other things. Don't see, at the end of the day, I don't know how to say it. Some people will say, but there was a time I couldn't afford data. Well, guess what? You can now. Stay there. Stay there. Do everything in your power not to fall back to where you could not afford data. Don't waste your guilt. Please don't do that. Don't waste. You are that guy. You are that girl. Like, own it with your chest. Don't do this false hypocritical. No, there's no need for that. Because human beings detect that thing in you, they will exploit it. Okay. I'm speaking from somebody who has had the experience. This is not theory. I experienced it. Don't let them do that. You owe yourself. They'll tell you on the plane, and I know this for mothers. You know, that instruction they put on the plane is not for everybody, it's for mothers that have children with them. They will say, if the oxygen mask fall, put your own first before you assist. And it's we mothers, so it's not everybody. Because naturally, our first inclination is to put our children first. Okay. There's a reason for that. Okay. So at whatever level of life you've managed to reach, own it with your chest. I didn't say go and rub it in somebody's face. No. I didn't say go and put people down. No. I'm saying own it. Because I'm telling you, if you do not own your elevation, you will lose it. Okay. If you hear nothing else today, please hear that. If you do not own your elevation, don't treat it like something foreign, something that didn't belong to you. It belongs to you. You hear me? Your elevation belongs to you. The fact that you couldn't afford data, now you're affording it easily, it belongs to you. It's yours. Own it. Okay. It is that attitude that keeps you there. Hey, don't do this false humility. There's no need for it. There's no need for it. You can be generous without being falsely humble. You don't have to be falsely humble to be a blessing to anybody. Okay. You don't have to somehow keep proving that, I will never forget where you came from. I will never forget where I came. Forget it. Forget it. Recalibrate your brain to believe that where you are right now is your lowest point. That's how this thing is played. I used to think all these things I'm telling you, I used to think that way before. No more. No more. Oh, never forget. I'm not saying put anybody down. I'm not saying become an asshole. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying in terms of how you view yourself, when you go up, delete where you came up, delete it. Delete it. Let that be now your new, you understand? Yes. So that if perchance you happen to dip again, it will feel foreign. It will feel alien. Yes. Don't say, I didn't used to afford data. Now I can afford data. Then God forbid, you find yourself struggling. You will reject it with everything. You know why? Because you forgot it. It's alien to you now. It's foreign. That's how to do it. Okay. So the person that asked that question, I hope that helps you. We have 15 more minutes. Let me see other questions that I missed. Yeah, so do with that what you will, make your judgments, case by case, but fundamentally, don't allow anybody to make you their only option. Don't do that. Don't let religious people make you feel like that you are somebody's only option is God. It's not God. Okay. Don't allow anybody, I don't care who they are, don't allow anybody to make you. The only person that I will put a caveat to that is children. And even that is to a point. Your adult children, no, they are adults. Go and make your life. That's how you go, and some people die before their time. Some people get disease that has never lived in their bloodline. They start getting it. Why? Why do you think that happens? I know vex me. Okay, somebody said, let me try and answer these questions quickly. Somebody said, I'm a student building currently. I'm in my 400 level. Sorry, when I say somebody, it's because it's a DM. So because they DM me, I don't want to reveal. So I'm a student building currently. I'm in my 400 levels. Due to an addiction I had in my 300 level, you failed woefully with a lot of carryover. I see an extra year for me. Gotten a hold of myself now, and I know I have to work harder than ever, but I still have doubts. You will make it. You will make it. First of all, congratulations on your sobriety. Okay. It's very difficult to shake that dragon. It's very difficult. It's very difficult. And your journey of sobriety will be lifelong. Okay. So accept that with humility. Please don't make the mistake of saying, oh, it's permanently not. No. On a biological and biochemical level, everything in your body was altered with that experience. I'm saying this because of the recovering addicts that I have in my network. Yeah. Physically, biologically, and biochemically, everything in your system was altered by that exposure. Yeah. And so, as much as I join my faith with yours that you will never return, there's a humility that you need to embrace, that you are not invincible. You are not somehow magically above it all. No. Okay. So I really encourage you, when you're a student now, so you're still learning, but at some point when you graduate, and you will graduate, okay, when you graduate, you start living your adult life, please look into advocacy. Okay. One of the ways that former addicts remain sober is advocacy. They do a lot of advocacy. Yes. I'm not saying you should take over your whole life, but do advocacy. Yeah. And it also helps to keep you grounded, that, you are not above the program. None of us really are. None of us are above the program, Yeah. So I'm really glad to hear that you're sober now. I pray you much grace, much grace. It's okay if you have an extra year. It's okay. If you go and look at if they tell you to line up, the most successful people in the world, they write for forehead how many years they take graduate university. They write them. You hear? Yeah. So don't allow. Yes, is the expectation 4 years? Yes. That it is 5 or even 6 years does not mean you'll be a failure for life. It doesn't. Okay. So do what you have to do. Put in that work. Okay. Put in that work. Work your ass off. Okay. And everything you accomplish, you will deserve it. You deserve everything good that is coming to you. Okay. Because you fought back. A lot of people, they just don't come back. They don't come back, So you've been graced enough to come back. So whatever it is you need to do to make it happen, so be it. Okay, but don't allow anybody anywhere to make you feel less than, because you are not less than. Yeah. So I wish you the best. Stay in community like you're doing now. Stay in community, join spaces, join community. Don't isolate yourself. Okay. Never isolate yourself. It's okay to have solitude. Solitude is different from isolation. Okay. Solitude is seeking to be alone, to replenish yourself, to return to community. Isolation is running away. Okay. So the two are very different. Solitude is healthy. Isolation is not. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Somebody said, this question is long. I'll try. Okay. Hello, Ma. How are you doing? I'm a social media manager. I've worked with a client before. You have experience and results you can use to get more jobs. At the same time, you're learning front end because you're genuinely interested in it. You're not looking for front end, but you're still learning. You want to document. Here's where I'm confused. If I post more about social media engagement, I feel like my front end journey gets buried. If I post more about front end, I feel like my social media content gets buried. Because of that, I sometimes end up not. But you see how we do ourselves? This is a wonderful example of somebody who is doing their self. Okay. For anyone who has balanced two interests on one account, how did you do it without confusing your audience? Do both. See, do you know there's something called buffet? You know what they call buffet? Some people say buffet. You know what they call buffet? When you go to a restaurant and there's multiple food types presented together. Do you ever see people go to buffet and they are confused? No. They are serving jollof and the yam porridge. No. The two of them side by side. Which one am I going to eat? Which one? Human beings are a lot more complex than we give them credit for. Okay? So there's, both are related, right? Because they are both visual, right? So social media management, visual, front-end engineering, visual, right? So I don't think there's anything wrong. It's the way you do it, okay? It's the way you do it. If I were you, what I would do is when it comes to my social media, I will use an authoritative voice. So anything I'm posting on social media management, I will use an authoritative voice. I won't use a voice of, I'm learning, I'm still growing, I still they handle it, I still they manage this thing, I just they say as you want go. I won't use that aura at all. I will use a very authoritative voice. Okay. Whereas with my front end, I will present myself as a learner. This cool thing. Wow, this is awesome. So this is what front-end engineers have been gatekeeping. Wow. So you can make it interesting and also that you're learning, you're growing when it comes to your social media. And then when you post social media, pitch yourself, so end your post with a pitch, end your post with contact me, end your post with end your post with It's only a simpleton, a real simpleton that will not be able to decode and understand that this is what you're doing right now for your money and this is how you're upskilling yourself. It's only a very simple-minded person that will struggle with that. Yeah. So you don't have problem. Yeah. You don't have problem. You can do both. It depends on how you are doing it. Yeah. Okay. You're welcome. Those who said thank you, you're welcome. Okay. Let me check here. Easy. We have 8 more minutes. Okay. Let me see. Okay, that's just okay. All right. Okay, all right. I didn't see any comments. David said you are speaking like you have experienced it. And many of these things I've experienced some level of it. Maybe not exactly as yours, but some level. Yeah. Okay, so this is the last question, and then I will call it a day. Okay, so somebody said, I'm currently studying software engineering at a tech university, but I've also grown my skills in full stack development and I've been doing some freelance work. That's good. Would it be a good idea to start applying for remote software jobs now, even before I graduate, to gain real company experience? Or would you recommend focusing on finishing school first before pursuing? I think it's fine. The only thing that I would worry about is whether the process of applying for the jobs will begin to affect your schoolwork. Okay, I don't know who is paying for you to be in school. I don't know if you're self-funding your education or if somebody is funding it for you. I've always said, people know me for this. If somebody is funding your education, you owe them the highest results you can. The only time I don't give a damn what you graduate with is if you're the one paying for it. If you're the one paying for your education, I don't give a damn. Okay, but if somebody else is making that investment in you to pay for your education fully or partially, you owe them the highest result you can get. That's my mentality. That's my belief. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's fine as long as the process of interviewing, applying, doing take homes, all of that, as long as that doesn't impede on your ability to graduate with top results, go for it. Bear in mind also that let's say you go and do very well in interview and they want you to start working full-time right away. Are you able to balance a full-time software engineering role with full-time school? Okay. Again, it goes back to who is paying the education. Okay, because if I'm the one paying for your education and you come and tell me, I want to drop out of school, mama, because I've seen this full-time engineering job, I will knock you. Me personally, I will knock you. Okay, so that's another thing to also consider. Don't go and put yourself in a situation where you are tempted to abort your education journey because you think you have seen tech money. Okay, so there's nothing really wrong with doing that. You just have to think about, these different scenarios. Yeah, but either way is fine. I don't think anyone is better than the other. Some people have done it. I know people in my network some of my mentees have done it. They've been in school and worked full time. They've managed it well. They were able to balance it. So I'm not going to sit here and say, no, don't combine anything with school. No, there are some people that have done it. You know yourself the best. You understand? Yeah. So if you know you can do it, do it. If you feel you can do it and you go and do it and it backfires, own it with your chest. Don't come and cry. Don't come back and cry. That's my own. Hey, my own. Adulthood means when you do something, whatever the result, you own it with your chest. Don't come back and cry like anybody did anything to. Nobody did you anything. Hey. So that's my own. Now, if you were my son, I will tell you to finish school. That's if you were my child. Okay. If you were my son, I'll tell you to finish school. Last, if you really want to work or just be out there, I will encourage you to take small contracts, small gigs. That's the most I would say you should do. I will not encourage you to go and take any full-time job that has the potential to threaten, finishing your education. Yeah. But that's if you're my son. But you're not my son. Okay. So respecting the adult that you are, do whatever you want. You just have to really judge the different outcomes and, yeah. Okay. All right, people, this has been great. Thank you so much for joining. Very good questions. These questions this time were very good. So thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you for being here, both those on Twitter and those on YouTube Live. It's been good to have all of you. I will see you in the next Mentor Corner. Mentor Corner in Queen Harriet Circle is once a month. If you want to know when the next one is scheduled, please join the community. You can go to queenharrietcircle.com. Okay, so queenharrietcircle.com. Let me put it in the chat. Okay, so you can join the community, and in the community, we always announce once we schedule a Mentor Corner, we announce it in the community. Yeah. So if you want to attend the next one, and maybe this was your first time coming, and maybe you didn't have questions prepared, the next one, definitely prepare your questions and I will be very happy to answer them. Yeah. Okay, people, have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I will see you in the next Mentor Corner. Okay, bye.